Hello, friends. I'm just figuring this out. Right now, I'm on my computer and I would much rather be on my phone, but I can't seem to figure out how. So, I guess we will just get started. So, my name is Marina, if you're unfamiliar, and this is Rapunzel Fiber Arts. I'm very excited to be here doing my first ever live. We've hit a hiccup in that I'm on my computer instead of on my phone, but I think that's okay. I'm just gonna send a message to one other place to let people know that I'm live, and then we can get started. So, all right, here we go. I think we are all set now. So, hi. We are going to be talking about a really fun project that I'm planning on starting soon. So, if you don't know me in real life, I am a very, very big Star Wars fan. I was raised on it. I think I saw the original trilogy when I was like 3 years old. So, definitely a big Star Wars fan. But when I started dating my current boyfriend, I sorry, I started to really fall in love with some of the stuff I hadn't seen before, like the animated shows, Clone Wars, and Rebels in particular. So I really enjoyed watching those, and one character in particular that I really liked was Ahsoka. So Ahsoka is Anakin's Padawan during the Clone Wars, and she is a species called Togruta. I might be mispronouncing that. And she's got these, I'll show you. She's got these head tails that come kind of over her shoulders and then behind her as well. And so I am going to be working on a shawl by Knit Graffiti called Ahsoka, after Ahsoka. And it is designed to kind of mimic those head tails that she has. So this one's the one that goes down her back, and then the two that come forward over her shoulders. So that's kind of the project that I'm planning on working on. And I'm very excited about it. But because I'm me, I'm not just going to go buy yarn and work up this project. Instead, I have some fleece that I'm processing. So I have this blue-faced Leicester. Blue-faced Leicester is the breed of sheep, and obviously it is the color blue. There's a little bit of variation in the colors, but I think this is going to work for my darker color. And then for the lighter one, I have this kind of cream colored blue-faced Leicester, which is really pretty. It has a little bit of vegetable matter or VM in it, but I'm planning on combing, so I'm not too worried about all these pieces of debris that I'm currently picking out of it. So the plan now is to get set up with some hand combs that I have and start going ahead and combing up this fleece. I see someone's in the chat, so if you have anything to say, please feel free to. I'm very excited to be doing my first ever live, and I'm excited that you're here with me, even though you don't want to say anything yet. But anyway, so I am going to go ahead, and I have my combs up here, so I'm going to go grab those. And these are actually some combs that a friend of mine lent me. Hi, Barbara. Nice to see you. I think you're in the Fiber Coven, right? So I have these combs that my friend lent me because they're big and a little bit scary, but I'm excited to work with them. These have 5 rows of tines, which means that they're 5-pitch combs. Obviously nice and sharp, a little bit scary, but that's okay. We've worked with combs before, and we know that they're not as scary as they might appear. So I'm just going to go ahead and get my stand set up right here in front of me. And that's just going to enable me to have the combs not rolling around all over the place, being potentially dangerous. So pardon me as I screw this onto my table. All right. So now we've got that on, we're going to take our comb and it just goes in. Perfect. And then we secure it with a dowel so that it can't really go anywhere. It looks like it's a little bit tippy. Let's see if I can do anything about that. All right, so that might just be a little bit tippy. Tippy as in it's tipping back and forth. Hi, yes, I thought you were Yarn Goddess. I wasn't 100% sure, but I was pretty sure. All right, so I'm going to angle you a little bit so you can see what I'm doing. And we're going to take our protective wood off the front. And then what do you think? Should we start with the white or the blue? What are we thinking? I think the blue is going to be a little bit more fun because of the colors. So I think, yeah, I think we'll go with the blue. My plan with this, let's see, did I lose my sample? Oh, I had a sample of this yarn spun and now I'm not sure where it went. Oh well. Ah, found it. So this is some of the blue that I combed and spun. So I'm going to try to get some of the light colors and some of the dark colors of blue put together on here. Being very careful not to hurt myself with these combs. It is shiny. Blueface Leicester is a typically pretty shiny breed. It's got a good sheen to it. So I'm just pulling this apart a little bit, trying to isolate some locks for us to work with. And then I'm just getting them put on our combs, which you can kind of see. I was saying earlier in the stream that I was trying to set this up on my phone so I could get a little bit of a better angle, but for some reason YouTube was giving me a hard time when I was trying to do that, and I kind of just wanted to get this stream started. So I decided to say screw it and just use my computer. All right, so now I've got a little bit more dark blue. Just a little bit so that we have, my goal here is to try to make a fairly uniform color because I don't want my contrast color to be too variegated. So I'm hoping I'm able to do that. I'm not 100% sure how well it's going to work. But now we take our second comb, and we've got our first comb mostly secured here. And we're going to go sideways through those locks and start pulling them apart. And this is why I needed these 5-pitch, slightly more sturdy combs, because I have a pair of combs, but they're only 2 pitches, whereas these have 5 pitches or rows of tines. So I went ahead and borrowed these from a friend because I don't have all the equipment, unfortunately. I would love to have all of the equipment, but between space constraints and financial constraints, that's not quite possible. So yeah, I'm just going to be sitting here working through this fiber for a bit. feel free to stick around and hang out with me. I'm going to be intermittently talking, probably continuously talking, but I'm also going to be working on combing up some of this fleece. So I'm just going to keep doing that. I've got some good company here. My dog is right below me on his bed. You might see him, you might not. He tends to sleep a lot. He's about 10 years old, and I think it's kind of the only way he's showing his age is just from being kind of a sleepy old man. But other than that, he's in good health. He doesn't look very old. He's not very gray, but he's definitely slowing down a little bit in his old age. So yeah, I am just using my combs and transferring the fiber from one to the other. You can see this one's almost done. What I'm going to do to get this last little bit of fluff is I'm just going to take this on the end, put one twist in it, and then get that twist behind the tines of these combs, and that'll help pull through some of that yarn or some of that fiber that isn't quite wanting to transfer from one comb to the other. So that leaves us with this, which is our waist, and I'm going to set it aside for use in something else. And here is our fiber. So it has gone through one pass from one comb to the other, but there are still some places here where I can see intact locks and curls, and I don't want any of that in my finished fiber for spinning. So I'm going to go ahead and transfer this back onto this comb in a very similar technique, just lashing it on and then pulling to let the fibers transfer. This fleece is a little bit brittle. It doesn't have a break, but it's a little bit tender. So I'm being a little careful with this, a little bit more gentle than I would be with something that I wasn't worried about that with. Just taking my time and enjoying processing this fiber. I've got a lot to do because I need almost a pound total of yarn, depending on how dense the yarn is. There's a quality of yarn called grist, which is, I believe the units are weight per pound, or not weight per pound. I'm sorry. Yards per pound. Yards per pound. There we go. Because if a yarn is spun more densely, it's going to have fewer yards per pound than an airier yarn. So we'll have to wait and see how airy this turns out. It probably won't be super airy because it's combed, not carded. If this was carded, it would be much, much fluffier, much airier. It would hold a lot more air during the spinning process. But because this is going to be hand combed, it won't be quite as soft and fluffy. It will be very durable, which is a good thing. So that's our second pass. And we're going to do, I think, 2 more because I still have some lumps and bumps in here that I would really rather not have. And here's where we get into the kind of tedious part of hand spinning and processing your own fiber. It takes time, but as long as you are enjoying what you're doing, it's okay. If I wasn't enjoying this, I wouldn't be doing it. This is part of the process, which I really like and really enjoy and really like to do. So I'm happy to continue working on it, even if it's time consuming, even if It's not the fastest process because I enjoy the process as much, if not more, than I enjoy the product. So. And this fiber is starting to look very nice. It's getting pretty well blended. It's just like brushing hair. It's kind of meditative. So yeah, there is a fair bit of waste with this just because it is a little bit of a fragile fleece. So I'm having a fair bit of, put that down, having a fair bit of waste here, which I think I'm going to try to use for something else. But I would really like this product that I'm making right now to be very, very uniform, very, very nice to work with. So I'm okay with a high amount of waste. I have enough fiber to get me there even with a lot of waste. So I'm just letting it be. I'm not too stressed about it. I just want this to be nice fiber to work with when I'm spinning it. Does anybody have any questions? I know somebody has popped in since I started, so if you're not aware, I'm working on an Ahsoka shawl by Knit Graffiti. But because I'm me, I'm not just buying yarn. I'm processing it from a fleece. So I am currently combing some blue-faced Leicester, which is a breed of sheep, and some hand-dyed blues, which I have here. And I'm combining those into some spinning fiber. So now I have my comb, I'll show you, full of very nice fiber. You can see how nice and airy this is. There's a couple lumps and bumps, but for the most part, it's very smooth, very airy. So I'm going to put this back in, and I'm going to find my Diz so I can remove this from the comb. And hopefully I won't make a big noise in the process. These are my other combs. But the blue-faced Leicester is a little bit too long to fit on them. So I'm borrowing some combs from a friend, which are these big, scary 5-pitch English combs. So this is a Diz. What I'm doing is I'm putting my threader through the Diz, and I'm going to use that to thread some of this fiber through the Diz and then pull off some combed top. Again, this would probably go a little bit better if I had an overhead view with my phone camera, but YouTube was being a little bit difficult this morning, so we're working off of my laptop. So I've threaded a little bit. You can kind of see through the Diz. And then what you do to make comb top is you just pull, drafting out these fibers a little bit, and then push your Diz up that. And then you've created this little section of combed top. And then you just repeat the process. So I'm going to pull and then slide my Diz, pull and slide my Diz. And I'm just going to repeat this process until the comb is more or less empty. Does anybody have any questions about my process, about me, about what I'm doing today, how I'm doing today? I'd love to chat with you guys. So I'm making some good progress pulling this off. The fiber looks really nice. It's this nice light blue, kind of like a sky blue. And it's going to be very soft and a very nice, smooth spin. And I'm really excited to be making good use of this fiber. It's been sitting in my stash for a bit, just kind of waiting for its opportunity. I tend to do that. I am a bit of a hoarder, if you couldn't tell from all of the bins behind me. But it's nice to have a nice sampling to choose from where I can just say, oh, I need some blue-faced Leicester, and I have this fleece. All right, so I've got a little bit of fiber here, and I'm just going to wind it around my hand and make a little bird's nest of fiber. So we went from this to this, which I think is pretty cool and pretty impressive. And now we're just going to repeat that process. We're going to keep making combed top nests like this. They're going to go in a bin. And once I have, half a bin or a whole bin full, I'm going to go ahead and start spinning. It's typically how I do things. I fill up a bin with fiber for spinning, then I spin the bin, and then I fill it up again, and then I spin the bin. So I've got some of the darker blue and some of the lighter blue, and I want to get some of both on my combs. I'm just going to go ahead and lash this on. Sometimes I'm kind of picky about if I have the tip end or the butt end on the combs. Today I'm not being picky about that. This fleece is a little bit messy in that the locks aren't entirely intact. And I think it just makes sense to lash these on as they are, as opposed to trying to find the tip or the butt end and doing that. That would be very scary and potentially very dangerous. Combs are scary tools. You need to have a certain amount of respect for them, I think. Not do anything too careless while you're working with them. because these are sharp as nails. And there's, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, probably 30 or so tines on them, all of which are sharp as nails. So makes sense to use some discretion and use some care when you're using combs. I'm a pretty experienced comber. I've been working with combs for the better part of a decade. Not a whole decade, because I only started spinning about a decade ago. And I certainly wasn't doing this before I spun yarn. Let me pull off our waste and set it aside. I'm accumulating quite the pile over here, but that's okay. Like I said before, I don't mind having a lot of waste in this project. I think we'll probably wrap up at about half an hour. Seems like a good time to wrap up at. So if anyone has anything else to say, speak now or hold your peace until our next live. The other thing about this is that the combs are kind of heavy. My arm is starting to get a little bit tired. So you can only do it for so long before your body starts to say, hey, take it easy. Which is fine. I'm trying to get better about listening to my body when it tells me things. Because I have a tendency to overdo it if I'm not paying enough attention to what my body is telling me. You can see here, I'm just doing that single twist, putting it behind the combs, and then pulling. We still have lots of waste, but like I said, many a time, that's okay. I'm okay with having lots of waste with this project because it just means that the yarn is going to be that much nicer. That's how I like to think about it anyway. But generally, the more work you put into a project like this, the nicer it's going to turn out, at least in my experience. It's all about knowing where to put the work in. Like if I was carding this on my drum carder, I would not be getting nearly as nice of a product as I'm getting with these hand combs. Or even using my personal combs, my 2-pitch Valkyrie combs, would not be getting as nice of a result as I'm getting with these 5-pitch English combs. All right. One more pass, and then we'll call it done. Well, I'll pull it off the comb. We'll make a second nest, and then we'll call it done. But we're getting there. Almost done. Can you hear my dog snoring? He is comfy and happy, enjoying some quality time. All right. Now we're going to get our Dizen Threader. I'm going to set this aside. I'm running out of room on my desk. I hope you know. All right. All right. And then we're going to gather the tips, pass them through our diz. If we can. There we go. And then draft and push. Draft and push. Yeah, you can see what I'm doing. Can at least get a pretty good idea. Draft and push. And then you just continue doing that until your combs are empty or nearly empty. Hi, I think we have somebody new. I am just working on doing some combing. Feel free to say hi in the chat if you would like. And I am just pulling this fiber off of my comb as I diz it off. Almost there. So I don't know if the person in watching right now was here at the beginning or not, but the plan for this fiber is to spin it. I've got this blue and I've got this cream. And my plan, I have all this stuff on my desk, I'm sorry. My plan is to work up this shawl, the Ahsoka shawl. Hi, Sally. Nice to see you. I'm working up this shawl, but I have to spin the yarn first, which is what I'm working on now. This is a sample of the blue that I spun up. And then this is the fiber, which will eventually become yarn like this. And my plan is to make about 1/2 pound of each color. And then I'm going to do this color work, or not color work, this striped shawl called Ahsoka, which when it's all laid out will look like this, which is going to be absolutely gorgeous out of this hand spun. And I'm very excited. So I'm just working on that. I've got 2 nests made up of this really, really pretty blue-faced Leicester. And I'm just going to keep working on that. I was thinking about wrapping up, but since there's still somebody here, I can keep going. So I'm going to go ahead and get this next bunch started. Do you have any questions for me, Sally, while I'm here? Happy to chat or answer any questions. Just hang out. Whatever kind of thing works for you. So I am just lashing this onto the comb, doing a combination of this lighter blue and this darker blue because I would like my overall yarn to be fairly uniform. So I'm lashing some on here in this lighter blue, at least trying to. It's a little tangled, I'm doing my best. All right, if you gotta go, Sally, that's fine. Oh yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Hit me with your question. Do I do lives as scheduled? I'm not sure I know what you're asking. Today I had been planning on doing a live and posted it in a couple of places. I think in the future I'm going to try to get a little bit more of a heads up to people so that they can join in at the beginning if they'd like. This is also my first live. I'm kind of figuring it out. I intended to do it on my phone originally, and I ended up having to do it on my computer because of how I was setting it up. So I hope that answers your question. If you would like clarification, feel free to ask for more information. Yeah, it's my first live. I'm very excited. Um, Definitely trying something new, experimenting a little bit, and trying it out. And so far, I like it. Only a couple people were here, but I still had a fun time. I made progress, which is always important. And I'm really enjoying working with this fiber, which is nice. What are you gardening, Sally? Do you do vegetables, or are you more of a flower gardener? Veggies, awesome. Me too. I just posted on my Instagram this morning. I got 8 peas from my garden and they were delicious. They were so yummy, and I was so excited to have the first harvest of the year. Oh, you raise baby doll sheep. That's awesome. That's awesome. I have a baby doll cross fleece, but I don't have any pure baby doll. That's very cool. The only animals I have are my dog, who is happily snoozing right here beneath me. Oh, you love their fleeces. Nice. Yeah, the baby doll cross fleece that I have. Oh no, it's not baby doll. It's a Southdown cross, which I'm not sure. I think that's a different thing. I know baby doll Southdown is a breed, but I don't know if there are distinct breeds, if baby doll and Southdown are distinct breeds or the same. But yeah, I've got this Southdown fleece, which I'm very excited about. It's this gray that almost looks like a lavender. It's going to be really nice when it's worked up. But unfortunately, things keep jumping to the front of the queue, so I'm not working on the things I need to work on. Oh, the baby doll Southdown are smaller, but the fleeces are similar. Like the fiber is the same. How did you find out about the live today, Sally? Did you see my post on Instagram, or did you just see that I happen to be live right now? It's a bit shorter staple. Okay, that makes sense if it's a slightly smaller sheep, or a maybe more small than slightly. I don't know. But that's cool. Thank you for sharing. I really appreciate it. I like hearing about stuff I don't know as much about. In feed because I'm subbed. I might be confused about what you're trying to tell me. Oh, subscribe.